Good evening, good evening. We're getting started. Streaming. Yes, it's streaming. All right. Good evening. We are on day 4. We are on day 4 of our reading. I want to just know what day are we on day 5? I got day 4 up here. Please forgive me. It is not day 5. It is day 4. I am definitely jumping the gun. Let me change that real quick. We are on day 4, chapter 5. That's why. That's the only thing that gets confusing because I am like a day behind from chapter to chapter, from chapter to date. But nevertheless, tonight is a great night because chapter 5 is really it's personal for me because chapter 5 is one of the foundations of my own personal coaching. So for those of you that do not know, again, I am Tanisha Shanae, Miss Inspiration. I'm an inspirational speaker, purposeful lifestyle strategist, author, professor, a lot of different things. And one of my main goals is to help people to establish healthier lifestyles with purpose, on purpose. And that's something I've been very passionate about, I want to say consistently since 2015. I want everyone to operate out of purpose, but I realized a lot of people never get to purpose because of the fact that they are not healing. So when we are thinking about it from the standpoint of relationships, we know that healing is a major component that is keeping people from being in the healthiest relationships that they truly want to be in. So chapter 5 is about starting your healing. And the one thing I do always say is that healing is not one size fits all. Everyone does not have to heal from the same things. The problem is that people feel as though that there is nothing that they need to heal from. And if you have the mindset, I don't need to heal from anything, I'm fine. I won't say I challenge that, but I challenge that. I think that every one of us have something that we can work on. Sometimes we push through, like we have this saying, like, be strong. And a lot of strong people have really masked a lot of their traumas and they make things happen. They're making things happen. They're doing things, they're doing extraordinary things. But we're also seeing just because a person has money, they have a husband, a wife, children, the things that society thinks should make them happy, we're still seeing high numbers in suicide rates, right? Think about, I was raised in the 90s, Power Rangers. And look at recently, one of the Power Rangers committed suicide. So these are things that we have to really think about. And we do need to take healing a lot seriously because we never know, where it can take us into a deep point. And I will be very transparent. I'm constantly on my journey. Healing is it's not a destination. It really is a consistent journey. So when we think about this tonight, think about every aspect of your life, and we're just looking at it right now. I can honestly say this topic, this is not only for relationships, this is for every part of your life. So before that person comes into your life, there's a few things that we really need to keep in mind. You're going to have to start to go within and address those heavy issues in your life. That's hard for a lot of us because, again, we have probably been so conditioned, and you probably have been dating the same type of man over and over. So you don't realize that these are things that you don't realize is an issue, right? So either someone has to admit it to you or someone has to show it to you, like, no, this is an issue. I think about people that have been in abusive relationships. There are some people who do not think that someone hitting them is a problem. They have been told, if a man hits you, he loves you. Why was that the story and the narrative? Well, a lot of us were told that in elementary school. Oh, that boy hit you, he likes you. So we carry a lot of these narratives from second grade, sometimes before second grade, daycare. And you're carrying that. Now you're 30, 40 years old. And some women do not believe that. Some women believe if he doesn't hit me, then he doesn't love me. So these are deep, heavy issues that we do need to address, that we do need to have these conversations. And this is the reason why I know God is having me to have these conversations a little bit more, because there's a population that really has to reframe their mindset. Like, you have to reset your entire mindset about love, right? And love altogether. You do not need to be fully healed, but you just need to be on that journey. Like I said before, healing is not a destination. Like, you don't get to destination healed, check off the box, you're done. This is a journey. There are going to be days, there's going to be times that you're going to have to come back full circle, right? And I'll share later on how I've had this times of the year, right, where I have to go back and start realizing, like, here's a trigger, right? No, the month of November is one of the hardest months for me. And as much as I have been healing, sometimes I have to do extra work to keep myself at a healthy mind space, because it's a lot easier in that time frame. Those little 4 weeks in November, I can easily go downhill. Believe it or not, if you have been following me for a while, you probably noticed that November, December are the months that I do the most. I do a lot more of, coaching other people, because helping others, this helps me. Before and after these type of sessions, I do a lot of reflecting before, and I definitely do a lot afterwards. So I am also on a consistent, constant healing journey. And I want you to get to that point as well, right? Even before that man gets here, right? So not healing can cause multiple things to happen. The first thing is that you're going to continue to have these repeated unhealthy dating habits, right? You're going to continue to stay in this cycle. You're never going to learn your lesson. Think about school. You stay in school, if you don't pass certain criterias, what happens? You get left back. You have to repeat that grade. So you're going to continue to repeat this until you realize, I need to learn something. I need to overcome this so that I don't have to keep repeating this cycle. This is why I do believe that we do, we continue to meet the same spirit, even though it's in a different body, because you haven't learned your lesson. So yes, John might be gone, but now Kenny's gonna come, and it's gonna look totally different from John, but Kenny's gonna embody the same characteristics, because you are just attracting the same person, just a different body. Not healing can cause you to be codependent on your new person, right? So that this new person comes in, and now you become so codependent, it's like you can't survive without them. That's not healthy. It's no one's responsibility to love you. I remember I met a gentleman, and he said to me, he was like, I want you to make me happy. And I said, that's not my responsibility. My job is to not make you happy, and your job is not to make me happy. If anything, you're going to add to it, but you need to come with your own level of happy. It's no one's responsibility to make you happy. That is a codependent mindset. And unfortunately, that is a mindset that has been given to us from society, right? They tell us, oh, women are, when you get this man, now you're going to be happy. What? No, I need to be happy before that man gets here. And I need that man to be happy before I get there. I should not come into your life and you're like, oh, like, think about Eeyore, right? I always talk about this with my sister. My sister, she loves the Pooh, Winnie the Pooh. And I always think about Eeyore. Eeyore was always like, woe is me, woe is me. I don't want to meet someone and you're like, woe is me. And then you want me to come and be your sunshine, be your inspiration. You want me to come and pour. That means that I'm going to pour so much into you to get you from woe is me to being happy. Now I'm going to be depleted. That is definitely. Someone on Instagram, Bola, said that's a red flag. Absolutely, that's a red flag. And that should be, if that's the mindset, that and the energy that you're bringing, that should be a red flag to that person. That could be the reason why someone might say, no, I don't think this is going to work. Right? You become emotionally unavailable. I'm seeing this a lot, especially on the male side. Some men have been so emotionally damaged that they become so emotionally unavailable. They're not vulnerable. They don't have any emotions. They don't express their emotions. And it's just like, what happened? And I remember before I started healing, I was very emotionally unavailable. But I also understood there was a reason why. See, mine stemmed from my childhood. So it made a lot of sense when I started to heal, and my therapist and, all the books and God is speaking to me. Once I got past a certain point and I had these emotions, it's like you become a new person, because now I had to realize, how do I adjust in life with all these emotions? Because I went a long time, and I'm talking about in relationships. And this is why, oftentimes I have this conversation with my sister. My sister, she sees one side of Tanisha. And to my sister, I'm very emotional. And she would say, but you've always been emotional. But for my relationship side of Tanisha, I've never been emotional. And she's like, how? Because there's two different dynamics in a relationship. The relationship with my sister and my mother and my niece, that's one relationship where I feel safe enough to express my emotion. But when you are in relationships with men and you have never had a healthy relationship with a man, it is very common that when you are in those relationships, you do not know how to express yourself. Either you hold it in, or you lash out, you become angry, you're not able to, have that, so it is so important. And I think oftentimes people think that the way that you are in one aspect is the way that you are in all aspects. And for me, it has not been. Bola said, yes, safety matters. Absolutely. Right. I never felt safe. But then I also realized I also have to start to, understand that I had to heal and repair certain relationships in order for me to even give someone a chance to give them the opportunity. Like I came in guarded. It was like, and they're like, why are you so like, you hear the term, why are you so hard? And that's how I was. I was very, very hard. I was extremely guarded. And once I started to build that relationship with God, for one, and then once God had me to start to forgive my father, that helped me as well to bring that guard down. So now, in the last 2 years, 3 years, I can honestly say it's been a lot easier. Like I still remember, like last year I went on a first date, and that was the first time that I didn't overthink it. That was the first time that I was able to go and just be that softer side, where I can just go into that date and just be like, and just sit back and relax my shoulders, and I can enjoy that moment. I never felt that way before. And that's how I started to know, like, you're getting to that point where you're comfortable in this space. You're comfortable in your emotions. So it will take time. It's not something that just happens overnight. It's going to have trial and error. Sometimes people will trigger you. Situations will trigger you. Just continue to ask God to guide you through that process. But I want you to be intentional in this prayer. So the first thing that we have to remember is that God has forgiven you. And I think a lot of us, we forget that God forgives us, right? We none of us are perfect. We have all done something that God is not pleased with. And it doesn't have to be the extreme of all extreme sins. Again, if God told you to bless someone with $1 and you were like, no, then guess what? You just did something that God he's not in favor of. But is he not going to love you for that? So the first thing I want you to remember is that he does forgive you for everything, especially if you have repent, if you have given, you have gone to him, you have poured your heart out, you have asked God to truly forgive you, then you know that it's time to move on with a clean slate. Okay. Now, I recently put up a TikTok video that actually got a lot of traction. And there was, and again, this presentation I have been doing for the last 2 years. I've been teaching on healing. So when I saw this video, it just confirmed to me that what I am teaching is right, right? So I always say her name wrong, but I think her name is Ayana, the therapist that has been on Fix Your Life. The video clip, and I will send out the video clip. I'll put it in the chat, not today, not right now, but I will put it in the email for those of you that have signed up. And I'll also put, for those of you on Instagram, I think even on Facebook, I have posted that video. But she said to Tara from Love is Hip Hop, Love and Hip Hop, to say the words, I forgive myself for staying in this relationship for so long. And that's in reference to Tara and Peter Gunz. And when I saw that video clip, I was like, God, thank you. Because this is something that I know I have been saying. So you have to get to a space where you start to forgive yourself. And you have to forgive yourself for every relationship that you knew was unhealthy and you stayed there longer than you should have. It is not the time for you to beat yourself up. It's not the time for you to wish you would have did different. You just got to get to a space and saying, yo, I forgive myself. I saw the red flags. I saw the signs, and I just, for whatever reason, I stayed. And we spoke about this the other night, where we sometimes think about the other person before we think about ourselves. Well, if I leave this person, how are they going to feel? Forget about what they're doing to you. We put them first. No, you have to put you first. But you now have to, now that you have left, because if you left, and the reason why we know that you left, because you're here, because you're trying to heal so that you won't repeat those same cycles. So you have to, and you got to honestly say this. I said this to a young lady in the comments on my TikTok. I said, you have to start saying this even before you start believing it. You have to start saying, I forgive myself for staying in unhealthy relationships longer than I should have, before you even believe it. Start to say it now. You have to start to forgive yourself. The past is the past. It has happened. You know better. And we know that you know better because you left. And even if you didn't leave that relationship and that person left you, you are no longer there. And that is the lesson that we need. Sometimes that person has to be strong enough to walk away from us. They're doing us a favor. And even if it hurts you, you're still thinking about it, you're still angry about it. Start saying it right now until you start to believe that I forgive myself for staying longer than I should have. And I know that it hurts. I know it's hard. I know that, it's a very uncomfortable topic. I know that healing is not the one thing people want to talk about because it makes us emotional. But guess what? Sometimes you're going to have to cry yourself to healing. Some days I just sit here some days and I just think and the tears will start coming. That's okay. Don't you know that tears is a form of communication to God? When we just cry, you don't have anything to say. You just start crying. God understands. So I want you to start to forgive yourself. I want you to start to forgive yourself for not loving me enough. Start saying, I forgive myself for not loving me enough. When I say to you, I stayed in, let me tell you about the most recent that I had to have a reality. I had to bring Tanisha to the table. I stayed in a situationship, not even a relationship. And this wasn't even I can't even say this person never put their hands on me, never spoke bad to me, but this person was never willing to commit to a relationship. Never wanted to put a title on it. And the reason why I stayed was because I had hope, right? And as much as hope is good, hope is not good when you start realizing that this person is going 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years. We're talking about five. I mean, I gave 3 solid years of this person had my full attention. I didn't love me enough. I'm blocking out blessings. I probably would have met my husband a long time ago, but I was focused on this one individual who did not love me, who did not even love me enough to say, you know what? I don't have the time to dedicate to a relationship. So I'm willing to take a risk of walking away so that you have the ability to live your life. I allowed this person to talk me out of going to Hawaii. Okay. Think about how much going to Hawaii. If you have never been, I haven't been yet, but I had one of my old best friends and we had reconnected. He was stationed out in Hawaii. He was like, hey, if you come, I got 2 bedrooms. You can come stay in the other room. I know hotels are very expensive, but at least book your flight and come out here. And I said, I told him about it. Oh, so you're going to just leave and go with another guy? And I'm like, and I did not take that step. I did not book that trip. And I kicked myself for that. Because I'm like, I'm allowing somebody who won't even commit to me to dictate what I'm doing. And this person won't even commit to me. So I had to forgive myself for that. So we have to realize that no matter what, forgiveness for yourself is going to be on so many levels. The last thing, you also have to forgive yourself for not always being obedient to God's instructions. Now, I know all of us can admit to this, right? I know people that have never been in unhealthy relationships, but they have missed some of God's blessings because they were not obedient to what God told them to do, right? I ended up in a situation in 2016 because God gave me instructions in 2015 that I did not listen to, and it almost cost me my life. And this is the reason why I had to add this, because that is a part of, when some people don't listen to what God is telling you to do, you can go into a depression. And that can block that person from coming into your life. But I'm here to tell you is that one, if God allows you to still be here, then God forgives you. All you got to do is say, God, forgive me. Right? And I'm telling you, 2016, the way that God saved my life, I'm like, why did you do that? Like, I was so disrespectful. You told me something very clear. Just think I heard it. I know you said it, and I still didn't listen. And it could have taken my life away. And you said, nope, I'm going to still save this little girl. She's so hard-headed, but I love her so much. So I'm making sure she's going to still be here because she still has things I need for her to do. And we beat ourselves up. We'll be like, no, God doesn't love me anymore. And this is the reason why. And we go into the spiral. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for not listening. And don't even make a promise. I promise I'll always listen, because we're not. We're not. Just say, God, I'm going to try to do better. I'm going to try to do better every day. I'm going to try to do better in listening to what you're saying. I'm going to try to do better in communicating with you. I'm just going to try to do better, right? So don't make God any promises. Just try to do better. It's time for us to start forgiving others. Some of you might need to forgive your parents, your old friends, some boyfriends, just people in general. Forgive them. There are a lot of people that the reason why your person might not be coming into your life is because you're carrying the energy around you. See, some people don't realize when you meet a person that they're healing, they're in this high vibration, they're all about this, like, I'm just about positivity. And you meet that person at the wrong time and they're carrying all this negativity. They have nothing but lack of forgiveness. You don't want to interact with that individual. You're going to be like, no. God might be like, yes. And you're like, your energy is like, no. So you have to realize, who do I need to forgive? All right. And it might just be start one person at a time. Like I said, for me, I had to start with my father. That was holding me back. And I mean, my father, I could be the sweetest person. And the moment that my father walks into a room, someone says his name, someone mentions it, I am turning into the Incredible Hulk. That's how I used to respond from a little girl. So you would see, oh, Tanisha, got her little her cheeks, and she's so sweet, and I'm up here playing with you. And then he walks in, and I'm like, ready to walk. I had to forgive him. And people are not going to always understand, well, why are you forgiving this person? Just because you forgive someone also does not mean that you have to allow them back into your life. The one thing I will say is you have to talk to God about that. See, my father, we're not like besties, right? He's not like the person that I'm calling every day. But I understood that God is like, there are certain aspects you have to maintain some form of relationship. So there are going to be some people that you will have to forgive, and it will have to still be some form of connection. And then there's a lot of people that you have to just forgive, and you just let the person go. The reason why I say that is because some of y'all, people think that just because you don't see the person, oh, I forgive them. Let somebody mention their name. Just like I said about my father. You mention my father's name, I used to go from 0 to 100, 2.2 seconds. If someone comes in right now, the person that you hate, your ex-boyfriend, your baby daddy, your old coworker, your cousin, your brother, whoever, they mention that person. If you go from 0 to 100, if you are blacking out, if you're spazzing out, if you're cursing people out, then you have not forgiven that person. A way that we know that we have forgiven someone is that that person could come right now in your space and you don't react the way that you used to. Some people get angry, some people get quiet. When that person does not have any control of your emotions, if they don't get a reaction out of you, that is how you know that you're healing and you're able to forgive them. Because God is going to it's going to always be a time where God is going to just let that person come back just for a moment, not to even see if you're stupid. God just wants to know, how are you going to respond? 2021, I worked with this coach. And this coach had me reflecting on all my ex relationships. And I had one relationship that, I mean, I couldn't find anything positive to say about this person. And I did a lot of work. I finally got to a point with this individual where I realized, like, you know what, God, I can forgive this person. I can. And I started to remember, like, the one good thing, I could only like find 1 or 2 things positive about this individual. This person made a mistake. And to this day, I can't confirm if it was a mistake or not. All I know is that I did get a phone call one day. And when I heard his voice, I did not react the way that I used to. I didn't get angry. I was just like, oh, hey, what's up? Oh, I made a mistake and called you. Okay, not a problem. Be well, be blessed. If this was about 5 years ago and this person would have called, I probably would have been like, yo, why you on my phone? I probably would have been cutting up. But I did not respond that way. So that person came back. He just slipped in. And I was just like, okay, because I forgave him. I don't have to bring you back into my life to forgive you. So don't confuse. Don't think that you have to reach out to every person and say, oh, forgive. Some people, you don't have to ever let them know, because guess what? They're living their life, whether you forgive them or not. They don't care. That's why I also tell people, some of y'all out here mad at people who do not care that you're mad. That they could be in Ethiopia over there living their life, and someone mentions their name somewhere in New York, and you spazzing out. That person is way over there in Ethiopia minding their business, have no impact. They're taking a free rent space in your life, and you are losing sleep. Your health is declining, every aspect. So you got to just get to that point, because people are going to start mentioning. When people know the individuals that irritate you, They're gonna be like, oh, so how's Jonathan? Huh? Right? You gotta know how to respond. Not forgiving can cause blockages and it can cause blessings to not come into your life. Let me tell you how my father was a part of one of my blessings, one of my biggest blessings in 2016. So 2015, he started to really speak to me about forgiving my father. He was like, look, you got to forgive your father. And I mean, I'm like, I remember I went on Facebook Live. I did a whole song and dance, crying. 2015, I'm up here, I forgive my father. Like, I'll never forget me doing this. And God was like, that was cute. But now you need to have a conversation with him. He's still alive. He's here. You can have a conversation with him. And I'm like, all right, God, why? I don't want to have a conversation with this man. And I did it. Eventually I did. And so 2016 was the year that, like I said, that everything changed in my life. That's when I had my ectopic pregnancy and I almost died. And I went into a depression. And when I went to that depression, my finances, my money became funny. Everything attached to me declined. I started to gain the weight back because I gave up hope in myself because I was mad at myself for not listening to God. So just at the time where I'm forgiving my father and there are people close to me that were angry at me for forgiving my father, right? So I say that again. People were angry at me for forgiving my father. They didn't understand that I had to understand those people being mad at me was a part of the whole blessing because I could have easily listened to their influence and said, you know what, you're right. I don't need to forgive him. But God kept telling me, you got to forgive him. Nope, you got to establish some form of communication with him. Nope, God was telling me everything I need to do. You got to communicate. You got to build some form of relationship with him. You have to listen to him. And I was like, but the people here, they're angry, they're upset, they're mad at me. They're threatening not to speak to me anymore. And God is like, I don't care about that. I need you to do this. And that's when I listen. When I tell you, that was when I was about to lose my place. And God sent me a blessing that wrote me out a check for $5,000 so that I would not lose my place. And I often believe that if I would not have listened to God, if I would not have forgiven my father, I do believe I would have lost my place. I do believe that that blessing would not have came through because of that disobedience. So sometimes you don't realize what you might have to, what you might be praying for might be attached to that forgiveness. So again, Matthew 6, verse 14 through 15, do not expect God to only forgive you for your wrongdoings, but lack forgiveness for others. And so when you read that scripture, you start to realize we got to stop thinking like, gosh, God forgive me, right? So if he forgives you for everything that you have done wrong, small to big things, we have all done something that God is not pleased with. Why are we so quick to not forgive others for the things that they have done? Again, small or big. You want God to forgive and wipe clear everything. You want God to give you abundance and prosperity. You want God to forget your past, but you can't forgive someone else. We can't operate like that. I don't care how you feel about that. What they did to you, to God's eyes, what you did to him is 10 times as worse because it came from God. So we got to start getting into that mindset. So for those of you, write that down, Matthew 6, read that whole chapter, but pay close attention to 14 through 15 verses. All right. So what happens when we don't have forgiveness? When we lack forgiveness, and it goes into details into the book. In the book, it can actually cause sickness. One of the things that I had experienced and within myself and speaking to other people, because if you know me, I'm a researcher. So I'm gonna talk to people, I'm gonna find out if my theory is correct. So I had a theory many years ago that part of the reason why I was having back pain, the way that I was having back pain was because I was always angry. And if anyone knew me, especially in the early 2000s, late 90s, you probably saw a very angry version of Tanisha. And I'm just honest. I know who I was. And I was dealing with a lot of pain. And it wasn't always just because of the weight. It was because I was angry. And so a lot of times we don't realize that when you carry so much unforgiveness, um, it can come out and through your body. You can start having these illnesses that you just don't know the doctors won't even know what's wrong with you. I have met people that literally their body is breaking down. Their immune system is shot. And it's because when you start thinking about it, and I would ask people, this is why people look at me like I'm really strange. Sometimes I would ask people, who do you need to forgive? What do you mean, who I need to forgive? If the doctors can't tell you what's wrong with you, then this might be a spiritual thing. Who do you need to forgive? Figure that out. Figure out who you need to forgive. Start forgiving that person. Release it. Let it go. And I guarantee you, I know someone that had major surgery on their body that the doctor stated that they would have to be in rehab for 3 months. The couple of hours after their surgery, it was pressed on their heart to forgive someone in their family, someone that they refused to forgive. And they said that they, in that hospital room by themselves, that they cried out and they just forgave the person. And when God told them, well, she said she wasn't sure it was God or not, but she said when God told her to stand up and walk to the bathroom, just having this major surgery, should not be able to walk. That person was able to walk. And they were able to walk home and go home. They didn't have to go to rehab. And the doctors are looking at them like, what? And I remember this person calling me on my way to work. And I'm on the bus crying because it was like God kept telling me to tell the person, forgive this person, just forgive them, and you will be healed. And they're like, I never believed this. I never believed this would ever happen. I should be going to rehab. And they're saying I'm going home. And I'm like, well, because God kept telling you to forgive. So a lot of times our sicknesses is not really a sickness. And this is not for everyone, but there are some people out there, you are sick because there's something or someone or some people that you need to forgive. And you're holding on, and that is wearing you, it's wearing your body down. It's wearing your organs down. It's causing you to be bitter. There are some people out there who can't find the joy in anything. The sun comes out, it's too sunny out here. Ever met someone who was just, they woke up in the morning and they was just mad? How you just woke up and you're upset? What are you upset about? You upset that the sun is out? You upset that, the moon is out? You upset that you're by the water? You upset that someone gave you $5? Well, it should have been $20. Why it was $5 more than what you had 5 minutes ago. There are some people that their bitterness is tied to the people that they have not forgiven. They're not angry at you. They are angry at someone else who has long gone and they are no longer relevant in their lives. And they're still holding on to it. Everyone is not bitter, but there's a lot of bitter people. Some people are just unhappy. So it still ties to it still ties to the bitterness. Wow. Someone said, my ex, he always wakes up upset about something. He wakes up and go to sleep angry. Look, I believe it. I believe it. There are so many people like that. You ever seen just people on the train? Like, that's why I'm not really fond of going on the trains anymore. Because some people just, it's like, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. Oh, and you just like, you just left your house and you're already mad. How are you about to go to bed? Oh, the bed's too hard. Why is the TV so loud? Why is this water so? And it's like you find everything to complain about. You're just never happy. I know people that have gone on vacation, beautiful islands. They fly to beautiful places and they're unhappy about that. Nothing is going to make them happy. Because why? Because there's something that they need to forgive. There's a situation that they need to heal from. There's a person that they need to release energetically so that they can experience and enjoy the situation that they're in. But when you don't have that, when you have a lack of forgiveness, this is the life that you're going to create for yourself. You're not going to want to see other people happy. You're gonna do your job to rain on their parade. Ever see, I'm in a lot of these Facebook groups, and trust me, some days I wonder why God had me in these groups. And they will post, ShopRite. ShopRite is hiring $15 an hour. Oh, who's gonna don't apply there. Don't apply there. Don't work there. But guess what? There could be a 19-year-old who's living at home. They're saving money to buy textbooks for school. Because your negativity is projected out there. Now this person is saying, yeah, I don't want to work for $15 an hour. If you need $500 a month to buy textbooks, why not? So many people are blocking other people, and people are listening to this. So this is why they are walking around here. And there's a lot of people, what negative people love negative people. And when they meet someone like me, they meet someone who's just who thrives and who have that light, as people say, they get mad at me. Because I'm coming to you with facts and common sense. We're not doing this. What are you mad about? So when I say that to people, and guess what? I wish someone said that to me. See, I had a lot of, and I will never forget, I love my best friend for this. We had went to Jamaica, and we were about to go to this excursion. And they were like, I want to say they were like an hour late to pick us up. And I'm riffing. Like I said, I was real bad, y'all. So I tell my truth. And my best friend got so tired of me complaining. The guy came, he was like, I'm sorry. I'm going to make sure, I'm going to give you an extra hour and a half. I made this mistake. I'm going to give you an extra hour and a half. I still wasn't happy. And my best friend looked at me and said, shut up. This man, things happen. And guess what? Not only are we getting back the hour, we're getting an extra half an hour. So what are you still complaining about? And when I say, I really had to sit there and realize she was absolutely correct. I had no reason to be mad anymore. I was going to get more. The time went from, it was starting at 7 to it started at 8. And it didn't go from 7 to 10. Now we went from 8 to 10:30, to 11:30. I was getting more. I used to get very frustrated when things would happen, right? I've learned a lot of times, one thing I want y'all to write down, when situations like that happen, God might have been trying to protect you from something. That's why I no longer get frustrated. When I'm on a train, yes, it's very annoying to be on New York City's trains and you think your MTA is going to get me there because MTA is going my way. And sometimes the trains are going to get delayed. But guess what? If that train is delayed, it might be something that God is trying to prevent you from encountering. It could be a stabbing. It could be, a fire. It could be something that you can be caught up in. So he's trying to delay. So when I started to practice, all right, God, you're protecting me from something. So I'm going to chill out. I pull out my book. I may have my journal, have my headphones, and I'm just jamming out. And I don't allow myself to get upset, right? So that falls into, we kind of strayed away from just the lack of forgiveness, but these are just tips of trying to prevent ourselves from staying angry and bitter and unhappy, okay? So let's talk about physical heal. Now, a lot of y'all met me back in 2014, 2013, and I look totally different. And I'm honest, okay? In 2012, I was at my highest weight. I was knocking on 400 pounds. God said to me, he gave me instructions. I went to the supermarket. October 15, 2012 was the day that I changed my entire life. And I started to work on healing my body. That was the first place that I started to heal. And when I started to heal on my body, things started to change. I started to lose weight. Yes, I did lose over 160 pounds. And yes, I did gain weight back. Okay, I'm happy to say that I have not gained all the weight back. But after my ectopic pregnancy and I went through that depression, it took me a long time to come back out of it. And I'm very honest about that. So we have to realize that physical healing is a great way to jumpstart. And if you see here, some of you might need to start gaining weight because it could be the opposite. Everyone does not need to lose weight. There are some people you are truly underweight. And God said, I need you to add some weight to you. So however that works for you, but no matter what, we all need to start drinking more water. And I will add a video for those of you that have registered. I will add a video that I did many years ago, but it's very relevant today about detox waters. And I'll give you some tips on how to start drinking more water. Because when I drink detox waters, it's pretty much just fruit infused waters. And it's a lot easier for me to consume 100 ounces of that water than for me to just to drink straight, core or any kind of filtered water. We got to start eating more fruits and vegetables. Mostly vegetables. A lot of people love fruit because fruit is sweet and it's easier for people to eat fruit, but the vegetables have the healing power. So for those of you that may be struggling with like high blood pressure, on the top of my head, high blood pressure, you need to start consuming more celery, particularly celery juice. So what I like to do is you can get the celery if you don't want to buy a juicer. Juices are expensive and they're messy, but you can buy a blender, put the celery in a blender with a little bit of water and get you the cheesecloth. So, the cheesecloth, you can buy it off of Amazon, and you can blend it up until it gets fine and then get the cheesecloth and squeeze out the juice and then just drink the bare celery juice. That's for people that have high blood pressure. But those of you that started with me, green smoothies was my thing. That's still my thing. I love green juice. I love my green smoothies. So take whatever fruit, vegetables that you want, add some spinach to it. If you want extra healing power, add some kale to it, right? And start to consume that and just start working on fully healing your body. What also happens is, and this is something that I didn't realize even when I started my weight loss journey, when I started to eat more and consume more vegetables and fruit and water, I was hearing God a lot easier. It was like, it was extra clear. When we eat a lot of the garbage, those are a lot of chemicals that are coming into our body. That is actually intentional to block us from hearing from God, right? So they want us to consume all these unhealthy things, pesticides that's going to prevent us from that connection. So when you start to connect and start eating the more healthier foods, it's not always about losing the weight, but it really is just more so about connection. And if you go back to Genesis 1 and 2, that's where God kind of talks about the fruits and vegetables. And it gives you a little bit of understanding, like he gave you this gift, right? So he wants to give us something amazing. We need to start taking it in, right? And so in Jeremiah 33:6, I will bring health and healing to it. I will heal my people and we'll let them enjoy abundant peace and security. So when we start to heal, we are going to start to be abundant in peace. We're going to start to be abundant in security. We're going to just start to be abundant. So healing is definitely something that we need, not just mentally, but also spiritually. Okay. So things that we need to start healing from your past, right? We all have past demons. I spoke a lot about this already of just like your unhealthy habits. It's time to get to the root of your past. It's time to realize, think about the food. For anyone that haven't read my first book, Transition to a Healthier You, about my weight loss journey, one thing that I said in that book was I was able to start connecting the dots to why certain foods I was gravitating towards. So for instance, another thing that helped me to walk away from the unhealthy relationship in 2012 was I realized every time this person spoke down to me and I did not lash out to them, I would get in my car and I was going to Wendy's. So when I started to really evaluate, am I addicted to Wendy's or am I in this unhealthy relationship that every time he says something demeaning to me, instead of me speaking up for myself, or instead of me leaving, I am going to Wendy's. So it's a lot easier to tell someone, stop eating Wendy's. No, the real problem is if you get rid of the unhealthy relationship that is rooted to your addiction to Wendy's, now are you going to be as likely to want Wendy's? When I tell you, when I broke up with that person in November of 2012, I didn't go to Wendy's as much. It was like, it wasn't something that I even desired. So I understood the root of that addiction. So it's time for you to start realizing. And when I say it's just like, it takes time And I would say start where you are comfortable. A lot of us like to start with the healthy eating, right? Some people might find that to be too difficult. Some might want to just start forgiving people, right? You got to go where it works for you, but you got to really start identifying what has triggered me from the past, right? People will forgive the person, but not the actions that triggers them. And sometimes that's something that we all have to continue to work on, because just because the triggers are going to happen, and the triggers are not going to always happen because of that person. It could be a whole new person and they just did something that old person that you done forgave, but you still haven't forgiven the actions. So now you have to start to identify how do I start to now respond to these actions that normally trigger me. And that's going to take a lot of self-awareness and intentional. Like you're going to have to be very intentional of knowing, right? So when I started to go back dating, when someone would not show up, right? So I have a habit of, for my father, I'll be there at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock comes, 6 o'clock comes, 7 o'clock comes, no contact, no communication, no nothing. The old me, when I was a little girl, I'm crying, I'm angry, I'm throwing stuff. I can't do that, right? When you get your own stuff, you can't break it. You don't want to break your own TV. You don't want to break your laptop. You ain't trying to break the cell phone because that costs too much. So now you got to start figuring out, how do I respond to this? So then I started to take on the actions of, now I'm going to text you 50,000 messages. I'm going to get all my feelings out and I become Twitter fingers. Is that healthy? No, because all that person is going to do is they're not reading all of that. So guess what I started to do? I started to, you know what? I'm going to still get my feelings out. So I will either go to notes on my phone or I'll go get my journal and I'm getting it all out. I have to get that feeling out. But now when I communicate with that person, whenever they decide to resurface, I can either hear them, so I can hear what happened. Because sometimes things have happened. I know one person got into a car accident on their way to my house. And I'm like, oh. So imagine if I would have spazzed out, that I would have felt like crap, like, oh, this person actually had an accident on their way to me. And so they're trying to make sure that they're okay because he had to go to the hospital. And I was like, oh, okay, you know what, God, you're right. I'm glad I didn't spaz out the way that I normally would have. But I'm able to now hear the person. And this is where you can make a sound decision, not based off of emotions. Because it might just simply be, you're not the person for me. You don't respect my time. And I'm going to move forward and we're not going to continue this connection, right? So I want you to, after tonight, start listing every unhealthy habit that you have and identify where or when did it start from. And when I say to you, some of us, it's going to trigger you. I mean, be very honest. The first time I ever did this, it triggered me because it brought you back to experiences that you probably have not been thinking about for years. So yes, it's going to, it's going to cause some emotions, and that's okay. Get those emotions out. Start crying about it. Start putting it, pour. Sit on that floor, talk to God and say, God, I no longer want this unhealthy habit. I no longer want this unhealthy habit. Help me. How do I get over this, God? How do I heal from this? You got to have that honest conversation with God, and he will start to lead you in the right direction. All right. Healing from rejection. Some of us have all been rejected. So I don't want you to get into this habit that you become afraid of love. Right? Because if you are afraid of love, then you're going to block the love that's coming in. Right? And then also remember, sometimes the person that you really wanted, God might say, no, I know who this person is. I know what they're up to no good. They talk a good talk. They sound amazing. But guess what? This person is full of crap. And I'm going to protect you. So God may have that person to reject you because he wants to make sure that whatever it is that he needs for you to do, that he is going to keep you in that protective state so you can do whatever it is that you need to do, right? And if they were blind to see your greatness, then they just don't deserve you. And we just got to accept that. Same thing with jobs. This is why I say we can apply a lot of this to more than just relationships. You can apply this to every other aspect. If a job does not offer you the position, thank God this was like, because I got something a lot better coming for you, right? So what can you start doing? I know we're kind of a little bit on behind time, but let me know if this is helping you. Put a one and this is helping you at all, because I know I have been saying a lot. I've been talking about a lot. One thing I can say, I'm passionate about this topic. So put a one in the chat so I know that this is helping you in some capacity, right? So when we are looking at how do we start to heal, how do we start to prepare for this relationship, we want to start to date ourselves. This is a picture of me. Yes, last year I took a trip to Orlando for 2 weeks and I went to Magic Kingdom by myself, right? You start dating yourself, start enjoying time with yourself. You're going to start to find out who you are and what it is that you like to do. A lot of us have been in relationships and we do not know what we like to do. Some of you have been in relationships when you have been dating someone and they are forcing you, I mean, not forcing you, but you are doing whatever they wanted to do. So when you start to date yourself, you start to get an idea of, well, who am I again? You start to identify yourself again, right? When you start dating yourself, you start having this independent experience, and it's going to help you with the introduction with the new person that's coming into your life. One thing I had someone say to me was like, we always want an experience, right? We want to have an experience. And one great thing that we want to have with this experience is to allow conversation. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people struggle with. But if you start dating yourself, you can start, oh yeah, one time I went to Magic Kingdom and it was raining. I could talk about that experience. If you see on the ground, it looks wet. It rained the entire time I was at Magic Kingdom, but I still have a story to share with that person. And I'm hoping that that person will have a story to share with me. So when you start to date, you start to have fun, you start to live, you start to really, again, that's how you start to find your happy. All right. So we definitely want that. So get some ideas. You start traveling alone if you have the ability to. Like last month, was the month of October into November, I went to Myrtle Beach by myself, got in my car, drove down. I was there for 4 weeks. An amazing experience, right? I go on Groupon a lot. Groupon is my favorite. Go get you a coffee. Do you know how many people have never been to a coffee shop by themselves? Like literally sat down in a coffee shop. Go get you a coffee. Go to sit in Starbucks, or go sit at maybe your local cafe in your city and your community, or go to a smoothie shop and go over there and just enjoy that time. Go to a museum. Go to a movie. Right? I'm gonna tell y'all a freebie. Next Saturday, the 10th, AMC, is it AMC or Regal? Regal will be showing the movie Elf for $5. Now, I love the movie Elf, okay? And I go every year, besides the years that, the pandemic. And I go every year. If my niece wants to go with me, cool. If my niece does not want to go with me, even better. I can have fun by myself. And yes, I can sit home and watch Elf. But now I can have that same experience, get my popcorn, get my drink. I can sit in the movie theater, sit back, recline, and I can watch this movie like it just came out yesterday. $5. So if finances is one of your issues, $5. AMC every Tuesday, $5. I gave y'all a freebie. So you have an idea, you have a date idea and you're not sure, or you want to go on a date and you don't have the finances, start with the $5 movies, okay? Next week, Saturday, you can go see Elf, $5 at Regal. And then the last thing is just start healing on your own terms. Like I said before, some of this you might say, Tanisha's bugging, I'm not ready for this. Start healing on your own. Start healing where you are comfortable, right? It's okay to focus on one area at a time. You don't have to do all 10 areas at one time, but I need you to start. And starting at multiple areas is not a bad thing. Remain positive. Start to journal, right? You can go on Amazon. You can get my Happy Journal. It's a beautiful journal. It's available directly on Amazon. Could be at your house, 100 sheets of paper. So you have nothing but space to write the anger out, write the feelings out, write the thoughts out, you know, start believing that healing is possible. Start putting in the work. And if you need the support, get the support that you need. Right now, therapy is more accessible and they're making it more affordable. So sometimes we think it's not affordable. I can't afford therapy. My insurance doesn't cover it. My insurance doesn't cover therapy either. But I stay in therapy and I make that investment because it's an investment in my health. So when I go do my taxes next year, in case anyone doesn't know, you can write that off. Because if it's not covered by your insurance, make sure you let your tax person know, hey, I also been in therapy. This is the medical course that I've been paying out of pocket. And they can put that on your taxes, okay? So start to heal. And so I do have an invitation. Like I said, for those of you that have been following in the group, you have seen this. And so I'm offering a 1-month package, 2 45-minute sessions, and you get 2 of my bonus exclusive sessions. It is technically $279, but I'm giving that right now at a discount price of $149. And for those of you that have registered, go to that email, the last email I sent, and I gave you a special promo code. Only people that get that promo code are those that actually register. But you get the promo code to get an extra savings on top of this $149. And this special goes until next week, Saturday, December 10th. But I want to help you to start navigating, to start devising a healthier, healed lifestyle with purpose. And sometimes again, you might look at this previous slide and say, this is overwhelming. Come with that list and we can get started, because I want you to meet that person. I don't want you to feel like you have to go to someone and meet this brand new person and dump all of that at their feet. That's not fair to them. So if you are watching on Facebook, go to the description and you're going to see the link. If you want the promo, then sign up. Sign up, register. You will get access, and I will send you the free the bonus guide to the ebook. You will receive that, but you will also receive the promo code so that you can get an extra savings on the special price. But it's not going to last. You're going to have to sign up by December 10th to lock in your price. Okay, so you will have time to use your 2 sessions, but to lock in those prices, you have to sign up by December 10th. So I am truly thankful. We went over 5 minutes, but thank you for spending this extra time with me. So tomorrow is tomorrow Saturday. Saturday and Sunday, we are going to meet in the daytime, but I'm going to push it to 11 a.m. All right. For those of you that have registered, if 11 a.m. does not work, please let me know a better time. I do have a session at 4 o'clock, which means that I need to leave my house at 3. So anywhere between 11 or 12 o'clock we can do. So you guys let me know. But right now I'm having it scheduled at 11 a.m. And as always, there is a recording. So if you can't join me live, I will still be here ready to do what I do. But tomorrow we're going to go over chapter 6. And chapter 6 is my other baby. We're going to talk about purpose, right? So my program is called Healing for Purpose. We talk about the healing, and then now it's going to talk about the purpose. And all this is going to tie into your relationship and the person that's coming into your life. So I thank you for spending this time with me. You have an amazing Friday night. Have an amazing weekend if I do not speak to you. And I hope to work with you. You do take me up on this offer with this invitation. Be well, be blessed. Have a great one. I'm Tanisha Shanae.